Hey everybody, and welcome back to my 2020 December daily foundation pages. I'm Theresa, and so today I wanted to share with you a fold out page that I wanted to do. And one thing that I love to incorporate in my December daily albums is products, packaging, found objects. And I was inspired by this little chocolate box. It came from the World Market, and it had this little flap on the bottom that I wanted to recreate for a page in my album. So I'm going to use this product packaging as sort of the guideline. But I know that the dimensions aren't quite the same. So even though I'm going to use these as a guideline, I sort of have to recreate this. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. I'm going to recreate this flap so that it will fit on a 6x8 page and be able to go into my December daily album. And then also, I am sharing the I guess cut file or the printable so that you can recreate this yourself, and that will be in our newsletter going out very soon. And so, if you want to receive this and make this for yourself, then be sure and sign up for our newsletter. And you will receive that. I will be sending out several cut files, PDFs this month. So don't miss that. Sign up for our newsletter on our website. And so what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to cut these out. I'm just using plain old typing paper here. And I'm going to, that way I still have the original, because this is really an experiment at this point. I'm not sure how this is all gonna work out, but I think I kind of know how I'm gonna do it. But I just want to be sure that I have the ability to make a mistake, right, and fix it. So I grabbed a sheet of pattern paper here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab a punched sheet already and use that for the background cardstock. And so this way I can get a feel for what the sizes need to be, and you can see how when you layer that the little cutouts over the 6x8, they're not quite big enough, and so that's okay. We're gonna make that so that it works. Originally, I thought that I would use that stack of pretty little studio papers, but I realized that they weren't going to be big enough. That I really did need a full 6x8 or 12x12 pattern papers. So here I'm going to cut down my background sheet. It works out to about 6 3/4 or 7 by 8 1/4 inches. And then, of course, I'm leaving room for the holes to be punched, and I'm just going to use my trusty old crocodile to punch that in place. That way I know not to cross that line so that I don't interfere with those holes being punched. And yes, that is my cover page there. You can see that process video previously. And so if you check out the playlist for this year, you'll find the process video for that cover page. And so at this point, I'm going to try and cut out the actual sizes that I need. And so I'm working on the straight cuts first, the interior flaps. So there's the background piece of cardstock, and then there's the 2 interior flaps, and then the inside and the top flap. So 4 flaps altogether. And those came out to be about 8 1/4 by 3 1/4, I believe. And then I'm going to attach everything with washi strips. Now, you probably could create folds and attach it to your background paper using folds. But I like washi tape, and I like how it looks once it's done. It adds a little punch there. And then here I'm starting to work on the overlapping flaps for the very top, and also apparently trying to get those 2 interior flaps so that they're the right size, so they overlay a little bit. And then I'll probably end up adding some kind of tab or something. And so I wanted to say that this sort of did come about in part because of product play classes, and I've been taking those in and watching Ali and Krystal and Tashi create these really cool interactive pages. And then I found this cool packaging and was inspired to create this from that. And so here's where I'm going to wing it just a little bit, and I'm still using the original product packaging here as a bit of a guideline. The trick here is to make it so that the little flap will slide into the little punched space. And I'm going to make the tongue part that tucks in a little bit longer, just to make sure that it will fit in to the little slit the way that I need it to. And all of this is like a prototype, right? And so creating a prototype and figuring it out from scrap paper and then cutting from your patterned papers is definitely the way to go. And that will help it turn out the way that you've imagined. And of course, when you sign up for the newsletter and you get the PDF, you will have all of this cut already for you, so you won't even have to worry about trying to figure out these measurements unless you want to do it for a different size. So, but the one that I've done definitely fits for in a 6x8 album, and will go on a 6 3/4 by 8 1/4 background cardstock. One thing that I really noticed from product play this year is that I really want some pre-cut punched white cardstock that will fit in the 6x8 albums as a pre-cut piece, because I've been using a lot of white cardstock for this album, just doing these out of the page protector pages, and it's a lot of fun. But I would love to see some of these pre-cut. So I sort of am eyeballing here for the shaped flap, and I think I have it figured out. So I'm going to just trim it out really quick. I do recommend just trimming this with scissors, just so that you're not overcutting. But this is just the prototype, so it wasn't as important. But when I go to cut it with when I go to cut it from the pattern paper, I will definitely just use scissors. And so at this point, I think it's working. I think I have it so that it will tuck in the way that I need it to tuck in. I am going to use, you'll see the little slit punch. That is an older Stampin' Up! Punch. You could use your silhouette, or you could just cut a plain rectangle. Either one would work. And I'm just trimming this down a bit more, and then doing a final cut prototype here to make sure that the length is right. And what I ended up doing was making the flap the full 8 1/4 inches on the page. And that seemed to give enough space for that little flap to tuck in. And so I decided that I was going to use the Crepe Paper Hey Santa collection. I needed the patterned paper in a 12 by 12 size so that it was big enough to cut the 2 top flaps from the same pattern paper. I originally wanted to have the 2 top flaps from the same pattern paper. And that ended up not working out really, and you'll see why in a few moments. But at any rate, that was the original plan. So I did go ahead and use 12 by 12 pattern papers. And then I have some fun ideas for embellishments when I'm ready to do that. Come on the day that I'm using this page. I haven't really decided what day I'm using this page. I'm just gonna leave it unnumbered for now and then figure it out as we go along in the month. I really hope, one thing that is so strange for me, usually I number my days and I go ahead and have it all in order in the album, and this year I'm not doing that. It's completely different. I have a couple of days that I have numbered, but most of them I'm leaving unnumbered. And it's a risk. I'm partly worried that I'll be like in the month of December and decide that I don't want to use any of these foundation pages. But I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'm sure that it's going to be all right. So I'm going to just clear off my workspace here. I also grabbed my punch, my corner punch here, so that I can round these corners. And I did not end up rounding all of the corners on the flaps. I will do that later though, when the time comes. So I'm just doing a final laying out here to make sure that everything lines up and works out the way that I'm envisioning. And then I'm going to go pick some pattern papers here. There were so many cute pattern papers in this collection. I just can't even say how much I loved this collection and how cute it is. So I'm going to try to see how I can get the same pattern paper for both of these top flaps. And so I chose this really pretty green one. I love this green color. And I thought it was so cute that there were swans and rainbows here on this pattern paper. The camera did cut off a little bit, and so I didn't get to show you how I cut out those top 2 flaps. But the funny thing that happened was that I punched the slit in the wrong end. And so that is how it came to be that the B side of that green paper is what I'm going to end up using for the second flap. So never fear if you're like me and you punch it in the wrong end, then you can just use the B side, and that way it still functions and it looks really cute actually. So I was happy with how it turned out, and I think that I have all of the flaps cut out. I used the little houses pattern paper for the inside flaps, and now I've got a couple of washi tapes and I'm going to adhere everything down. I know this was kind of a longer process video today, but this was really fun to make, and I just wanted to encourage you to find inspiration from product packaging and use that as a different idea for creating some fun pages. That's a fun way to gather inspiration and make something that's your own. And just use scratch paper or lightweight typing paper to finalize your plan before you cut your pattern papers. And of course, again, if you want to make this one just like mine, then keep an eye out for the newsletter that will go out next week and will be available for you in our newsletter. And I'm just excited about this. I think this is going to be great. You can see the space on the inside for photo, for journaling. There's really lots of real estate in this one little flip out page. So that's kind of fun, and lots of possibilities. At this point in the game, I am only constructing the flip out page. I'm not going to embellish. I'm not going to, I'm not even thinking about where photos or journaling might go just yet. I'm going to figure all that out on the day when I get to the day that I want to use this. So it should be fun. I think it'll be fun to see how it works out. Here you can see I'm adhering the top and the bottom flaps, and so I'm using 2 different washi tapes for adhering these down. If I do one large photo in the center inside there, that will cover up some of that washi tape, and so we'll see how that works out. You can always put different pattern papers on the inside, and that will help to hide that washi tape if you don't like it in the end. I kind of like having the washi tape showing. I think it's fun. And then one thing I did while I was adhering the washi tape down was I left a little bit of space so that it would be able to fold smoothly. And also the interior flaps might need to be a little tiny bit smaller than your background cardstock. They might need to be a little bit shorter so that your top flaps will fold over smoothly. So that completes this foundation page. I hope that's been fun for you to watch that come together. And I just want to encourage you to come up with your own ideas for a flip out or a flat page like this. And thanks again for watching. I have more foundation pages from Hey Santa on my blog, so be sure to check that out. The link will be in the description box. And let me know what you think about this. All right, I'll see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.